Hi friends, my name is Amber. Welcome to a Lovely Yarn podcast. Today's episode is a special one. It is a roundup of 25 knitting patterns that I thought would be fantastic to make with advent calendars or just any other scrappy fingering weight yarn that you have lying around. It seems that as knitters, especially if you knit socks, we always have fingering weight, mini skeins or scraps. And so it's always fun for me to look for patterns that I could use those scraps up. I really like to use up the yarn that I have. And so that's what I'm going to be featuring today. I have filmed 2 other episodes in the past that run along the same theme as this video. I will link them down below if you want to check those out. I think the first year was 50 knitting projects that would be good for scrappy yarn, and then the second was 42. I'm not sure why 42, but this year I've limited down to 25, and all of these patterns are going to be linked in the Ravelry bundle down below, so you can check them out. They'll all be in one space, one link down in the video description. You click that and it'll take you right to Ravelry, and you'll get to see all of the patterns at one time. I will encourage you to kind of stick around and watch the video. I'm going to talk about the differences between these projects. I'm going to give you some details of them, not anything too in-depth, and I'm going to mention what I like about each one of these projects and why I chose them for this list. And I tried to include a little bit of everything from small projects like a pair of mittens up to large projects like a blanket and a sweater. I'm hoping that there's maybe a little bit of everything for everyone, or at least most people who watch this video. I'm going to divide this into different categories, and I hope that keeps it a little bit more organized. But again, just thank you so much for joining me. Grab your knitting or your cup of tea or coffee or hot chocolate, and let's get cozy and talk about these beautiful, scrappy projects that we can be knitting on during the month of December. First category we're going to be focusing on are knits for the neck, and specifically cowls. Now I wanted to go with cowls because I like to knit shawls, but cowls are a little bit faster to knit. And let me be honest, during the month of December, especially since I film Vlogmas, my time is often very limited. So I thought a cowl would be a nicer, smaller, maybe more manageable project to actually be knitting on during the month of December amid all the other festivities. So the first one that I wanted to feature today is called Little Leftovers, and this is a pattern by Stephanie Loftman. It is $7 US. And the thing about this that is really appealing to me is it's worked in 25 tiny sections, so one for each day leading up to and including Christmas. And then she gives yardage breakdown for each section. So I just have random scraps laying around. I don't always have a 10-gram mini skein or a 20-gram mini skein. So I appreciate that she breaks down the yardage, because let's say one section only needs 7 grams. Well, I can measure that out and find the scrap that I have that would work for that. She also provides a coloring page so that you can color in your color options and kind of get a feel for that. It's worked seamlessly from the top down on US 4 needles. There is lots of texture, so she claims that it also looks good in just one color if you don't want to do it as a scrappy project. And the texture is obtained by lace, slipping stitches, and then doing the stripy color work if you do it as a scrappy project. This is on my top. I haven't decided which one of these patterns I'm going to knit yet, but this is on the top because it seems very doable. The sections are small, they're broken into 25 days, so I think I could probably get one section done a day. It seems like a doable thing for me during my busy month of December. Next up is a cowl by Erica Arndt. This is called the Knit Miss Cowl. It's $5.95. This is fingering weight held double, so you could do some marling here. So it's going to actually work out like a DK. So if you got a DK, if you have DK scraps or you got a DK weight advent calendar, that would also work really well for this pattern. It is designed to use 24 10-gram minis. So you're holding those 24 minis double. And so I guess you are getting a marling effect the whole way through the cowl. And I liked this cowl because if you look at it, it has a lot of texture, which is very interesting. And it seems that the texture changes in each section. So you can do I like that because I feel like then I'm not going to get bored, and it's going to be a very quick knit because I'm going to stay engaged in the project. This next cowl is a pattern by Jamie Lomax. It is $8. This pattern is actually written for 3 different weights of yarn, including fingering, DK, and worsted. And so that's wonderful that it's like a 3-in-1 pattern. You need one main color, which is a solid color. At least that is what she suggests. And then you need your minis for the color changes. And she said that you're going to need a minimum of 20 yards per color for your color changes. This is stranded color work. It almost looks like it's mosaic knitting when I looked at it. But when I read further into it, it is stranded color work, which I actually really enjoy. And I think that would also make it a warmer cowl because you're going to have some floats. So it's going to be a little bit of a thicker fabric that you're obtaining. It has a wider circumference along the bottom that kind of tapers up, which is another thing that's very appealing to me because, as I've mentioned before in the past, I do like a tighter fitting cowl. I don't like it kind of sagging because then it's not going to keep my neck warm. So I like the idea of having it wider here so that it sets on my shoulders nicer and then tapers up as it goes farther up my neck. Okay, now we're moving into shawls. This first shawl that I want to talk about is called the Boxing Day Shawl. This pattern is by Jennifer Lasonde. It's $7. This is a crescent-shaped shawl, which happens to be my favorite shape of a shawl. I feel like that's a bit of a tongue twister. I feel like a crescent-shaped shawl just lays really nicely on my neck. I just prefer that shape. This pattern is designed to use 20 mini skeins, and it is worked sideways on size US 7 needles, and it also has an I-cord edge that borders the shawl. I feel like this pattern would probably go pretty fast because you're working sideways, so you're not going to have a really, really large amount of stitches on your needle at any one time. Also, you're doing the color changes throughout, which keeps nice variation. And then also the fact that it's fingering weight worked on US 7 means you're going to get a pretty open gauge, I would say, or at least loose gauge. So what you do is you start on one end, you knit until you get to the central panel, which that's where you start to create those triangles that you see, and those are created using short rows. And then the triangles alternate between garter stitch and eyelets. The pattern designer includes yardage requirements for each section of the shawl, and I really like the side-to-side construction. I think I've done at least one shawl that was knit side-to-side, and it just feels like it goes so much faster. Seedlings Greetings is the next shawl that I found so interesting. Another kind of like a triangular, these aren't really triangles, although maybe they are. I can't really tell by looking at the picture, but it's more of like a wedge shape, and that makes it look very interesting. It is also a side-to-side construction, and it is knit on US 6 needles. The pattern designer is Skeins, and this is supposed to be perfect for an advent calendar. There's 24 color wedges that are shaped by working short rows, and it makes a half circle shawl, and it looks like, from what I was reading, that the entire shawl is knit in garter stitch. The next pattern is by Helen Stewart. Helen Stewart seems to always come out with a beautiful advent calendar pattern, and I don't know when she came out with this one, but it is called the Trifle Wrap. This one is almost $8 US dollars anyway. It requires fingering weight held double with silk mohair, and you're knitting on a size US 7. It requires 24 20-gram minis, and if you look at the pattern picture, it looks like it's chevron knitting, like you're doing the knitting to get the chevron shaping, and you're switching your colors up on each section. It's rectangular shaped, and I knit for last year for Advent, I knit a shawl holding my fingering weight scrap yarn double with like an off-white silk mohair, and I absolutely loved how it turned out. It just softens all the colors so that they blend a little bit better, and then it's really squishy and warm and cozy. This is an eye catcher for me anyway. This is the Luminaria shawl by Lindsay Fowler. It's a $7 pattern. It is gorgeous. It is unlike any other Advent shawl that I have seen, or at least that I can remember seeing. It was designed specifically to use only 10 20-gram minis or the equivalent scraps, and it's knit on size US 6. So this would also work for a 12-day Advent. I know that's also a thing. You also need 100 grams of your main color, which Lindsay suggests you use a tonal or a solid color for that. It is triangular shaped. The pattern utilizes slip stitches, lace, and it looks like there's a picot border on it as well. This pattern looks like it would be difficult, like it might be a more challenging knit or one that you would have to really pay attention to. But when I looked at the difficulty rating on Ravelry, it had a very low difficulty rating. So I think that's wonderful. I didn't really want to include any patterns on here that would be overly complicated, because who wants to complicate their life any farther when it's December and we're busy with the holidays? So yeah, I don't know. This is just so beautiful. I haven't seen a look like this kind of shawl before, and I love it so much. So I wanted to share it with you guys. The Cozy Coastline shawl is up next. This is a pattern by Blue Fern Yarns. It's $6.23. It is triangular shaped, it's knitted bottom up, and it has a cable running along the side. I included this pattern because of that cable. I cannot recollect any other triangular shaped shawls that have a cable running up just one side. I'm sure that there are, it's just that this was the first one on my radar. It is designed to use 24 10-gram mini skeins or a mini Advent, and the size is fully adjustable, so I'm pretty sure that she will tell you how to adjust the size if you want to make it bigger or smaller. If you're in the mood for some brioche, may I suggest the Brioche Adventure by Jonathan Tallow. This pattern is $6.20. It's designed to be used with anywhere from 14 to 23 20-gram minis. It uses basic brioche stitches, so the designer says that this would be a perfect beginner brioche project. It looks to me like it has an I-cord edging, and this is another one of those shawls, those glorious shawls that are worked sideways, so you don't have a bajillion stitches on your needles at once. This is a high contender for my personal Advent project because I love brioche. And it's very squishy and just so warm and cozy. So I really love it. And it's not actually hard to do, especially the basic brioche. This would be fun. I feel like this would be such a fun project when you're combining your different colors of yarn, the brioche stitch, and then working sideways. I can really see just chilling out in the evening with this project. Crystal Tea Knits designed this next Advent shawl, and this is the Sugar Plum Fairy Advent shawl. This is a pattern that is $7.50. It uses 24 20-gram minis, and it's knitted on a US 5 needle. The necessary grams for each section is included in the pattern, so you know exactly what you need for each section. The pattern is color-coded row by row so that you can easily keep track of where you are in the pattern. And I really liked the eyelet details, the lace details in this pattern, and then there's also some texture worked in, and then the rest is stockinette. This next pattern is such an interesting one as well. It is called The Little Gemstones. It's by Claire Slade, $7.29. Another high contender for me for this year. So this is actually, although this shawl looks like it would be a modular knit, which is like you're building from one piece to the next, it's actually knit all in one piece using short rows to get those little bubbles of color, and it's not actually modular at all, and there's absolutely no seaming included in or needed in this. So it says that the little gems, this would be so much fun to pick colors for, and this would probably be really good for one of those Advent calendars that are not designed to be a fade or to necessarily work in a certain order. one that has more random color choices, because I don't feel that you would need everything to be completely like cohesive as far as color, because this definitely is giving me more of like the cozy memory blanket vibe, where you just have the patchwork of color and they all just kind of look beautiful together because it's fun. But the gems are knit as you go using wrap and turns, so there's no need to pick up stitches or to seam. And there are 78 gems, and each gem uses 9 yards. So that's a really low yardage. So you can get your advent calendar and make multiples of the same color, or if you have some scrappy yarn that you have really small amounts of scraps, this wouldn't be a great project for that. I wanted to include a more like scarf-like project in this list as well. So the next one kind of matches that criteria for me anyway. It's called the Bubble Bandana. This is a pattern by Stephen West. It's roughly almost $8. I think this is perfect for a smaller, quicker project if you don't want to get into a full-size shawl, but you still want something that's more shawl or scarf-like. It's designed to use up all those little fingering weight leftovers that we all have. You can easily adjust the length. One color is worked at a time, and this is knitted sideways. I have 2 patterns for the hands, or glove / mitt patterns, that I wanted to talk about. The first one, these are the Hearten mitts. This is a pattern, another pattern by Helen Stewart. This is approximately $8. This pattern comes in 2 sizes, which includes child and adult size. It is a very simple pattern. It doesn't even have like the thumb gusset in it that you need to worry about. So it's really more like an arm warmer plus the hand warmer portion. You don't have to worry about knitting that small thumb with your double pointed needles if that doesn't interest you. It has a really pretty, almost like a chevron, one little chevron that runs up the side of it, or actually it looks like it runs down the front of it. And let's see, it says the child size uses 18 24-gram minis. Is that 20 grams? Sorry, 18 20-gram. You need 18 different colors for the child size, and you need 24 for the adult size, but I think you can probably do whatever you want with this. I'm pretty sure this was designed to be an advent project, but I think you can mix and match as many or as little colors as you would like. I'm actually getting ready to cast on this next project, but I'm actually going to do them in a solid color, but I thought that they would be really fun as a scrappy project as well. And these are the November mitts, everyday November mitts, everything. These are the everything November knits. Finally, I got it right. This pattern is by Jen Yard. It is approximately $5. One size fits most. It's a ribbed, which makes it great because that makes it really flexible as far as sizing goes. And so you could do these scrappy, you could do them in a solid, which I'm actually thinking about doing a solid colored fingering weight held double with a mohair, or you could even do it in a self-striping yarn. That would be, I also have a lot of scrappy yarn left over from knitting self-striping socks, so I think this would also be really great for that. Let's move into hats, shall we? The first pattern is called Home for the Holidays. This is a pattern by Carla Ray. It's $3.72. This is a marled hat that uses fingering weight held double. It was specifically designed for Advent. So you need 24 3-gram minis. So not much for the hat. You can make several of them with an Advent calendar. And it's knit from the bottom up. You do need to do a provisional cast on. I'm not really sure why that is, unless maybe that's a double brim. But I think this would be a really fun hat to just get creative with your minis and marl them together and just paint yourself a hat. The Hakia hat is next. This is a pattern by Amba O'Brien. It is a $6 pattern. So this comes in 3 different sizes: adult, small, medium, and large, and she gives the yardage that you need for each section. It uses minis and then 1 skein of your main color, which she suggests should be a solid color. And those sections that you see are actually obtained by using slip stitches, and so you're only using a single color per round, so it's not stranded color work. So In here, it looks like maybe she used a color shifting yarn along with her solid, but you could just do each section, just switch to a new color of your minis and have like a beautiful, happy rainbow hat. The All Together Now hat actually is by the same designer as the All Together Now cowl, so it's actually very similar in how it is made. And this is a pattern by Jamie Lomax. It's $6. It also, just like the cowl, it includes instructions to do a fingering weight, DK weight, and worsted weight. It is stranded color work. It comes in 5 sizes from toddler to adult large, and also includes instructions for a single brim or a double folded over brim. So let's get into a little bit of a bigger project. This first one is by Amba O'Brien. She has a large amount of great projects for mini skeins or advent calendars, so you should check her out. This one's called the Fest Vest, and it is designed to be used with a 24 color mini skein set. I think it's meant to be used with a DK weight. I don't know that it does say that it requires DK weight yarn. So if you have a DK weight advent calendar, that would be great to use with this project. Or you could, if you have lots of fingering weight, you could hold that double, or you could, how I imagined it actually was to take a solid fingering weight 100 gram skein and marl my minis in with it to kind of give it more of like a blended look. It uses slip stitches to get the like stripey effect, and depending on how you arrange your colors, you'll either actually see like a sharply contrasted stripe or it'll look more blended. And then you need a contrast color for your trim, and the instructions include a button up front. This next sweater is a pattern by Beth McDonald Stone. It is called the Color Play Pullover. It's an $8 pattern. You actually use your fingering weight held double for this sweater, so you're getting the you use your fingering weight minis held double with mohair, with the silk mohair. So this is a crew neck style sweater that is knit in the round from the top down on size US 3 and 4 needles. It has a faux saddle shoulder, and then it also has these beautiful little puffed sleeves, which are so pretty. It is designed for 5 sizes, ranging from a 36-inch bust to a 60-inch bust. This would be another really fun one because you could just go crazy with your color, and yet the mohair will kind of help blend. I really like using mohair with when I'm doing a scrappy project because it really helps to blend the colors more gradually into one another. Okay, and I did it. I think this is the third Amba O'Brien pattern that I've included, but I feel like every time I do a scrappy episode, I have multiples of her projects, her scrappy projects, because she just designed so many of them. This is called the Radvent cardigan, and it is an $8 pattern. It's designed to be used with a 25 mini skein set. It comes in 13 sizes from 29-inch to 66-inch. It is knit sideways, which is so super cool. I've never knit a garment sideways. It's worked both flat and in the round, and it has these like bat wing sleeves. I'm not sure. I haven't worn something with bat wing sleeves for so long, so I'm not sure if I would like it on myself, but I think it's really interesting. I think it would be an interesting construction, the side to side. Have any of you knit side to side sweaters? Do they go faster? This pattern includes a progress chart so that you can keep track of where you are in the pattern. And then she also includes the option of adding mohair. So she must give you like different numbers as far as cast on stitches and all that if you want to add the mohair. Okay, up next we have socks. And I think I have 3 different sock patterns for you. The first one is by KF Jones. This is called the Scrappy Quilt Socks. It's a little bit over $6 US. It comes in 3 sizes. These look like really soft, squishy socks, and it says that they feature a knit and purl texture that resembles half triangle quilt squares. I don't really know what half triangle, I know what a half triangle is, but I don't know what a half triangle quilt square is. Maybe it's really obvious. I don't know. She claims that this pattern is easy to memorize. It has a heel flap and an umbrella toe, and they are knit top down. Then we have the Sawtooth Socks by Elizabeth Dart. This is a $4 pattern. Now this is stranded color work, and it is knit from the top down, has a short row heel, comes in 5 sizes. There is no need to catch floats in this pattern, she states. All of the color work is done with minimum amount of stitches between the different color changes, so you don't have to be catching any floats, which is nice for first time. Well, it's nice anyway, but especially for, you know, people who aren't overly comfortable with catching floats and with color work. It says there's a separate set of instructions for a deep fit heel if short row heels tend to be too short on you. That is something that I've heard from multiple viewers, that doing short row heels sometimes means that the heel is not deep enough for them, so they always add on some rounds. I've never done a short row heel, so I don't know what that means, but she includes instructions for that. Oakwood Knits designed this next pattern, which is called Painted Waves Socks. This is $6.50. It comes in 4 sizes. It is knit top down. It uses a shadow wrap short row heel, and it also is stranded color work. This pattern was specifically designed for stash busting your scraps. So you can use as few or as many colors as you want. When I was looking through the projects on the project page, it looked like some people just included the color work portion along the top, like the cuff part, and then other people carried it the whole way through the sock. Okay, we're nearing the end, and for this last section, I wanted to feature 2 blankets that kind of caught my eye, and I don't think I have ever seen either of these featured on Ravelry. The first one is called Starlight Starbright by Stephanie Shyman. It's only $5. It was originally designed for a 24-day advent calendar. There are 2 options. One is for using 20 mini skeins plus a full skein, and the other one is to use 24 mini skeins plus a full skein. And you work from the center out, and you can choose whether you want a 5-point or a 6-point star. And then you add on so you keep knitting until the blanket has reached your desired size, and then you knit on a garter ridge border. And the last pattern of this episode is the Loops Blanket by Trine Bertelsen. This is $6.61. This is called a junior blanket, so I'm assuming they're calling it that because it's a smaller size when it's finished. But it claims to be a simple pattern. You're using knit stitches on both the right side and the wrong side, and then you're using yarn overs and knit 3 together on the right side to give that like ripply effect that it has. It looks actually really cool. The pattern looks advanced, but it has a very low difficulty rating, and this pattern includes both charts and written instructions. So that wraps up my 25 Scrappy Project episode. Maybe you guys have found something that you would like to knit. If you have, I would love to hear it. Leave a comment down below, because as I often do with my special episodes, if you have stuck around to the end and you have listened to me talk about these, I would love to offer a special treat. And you leave a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite Advent project is. It can be from this episode. It can be from my past episodes. It can be any scrappy Advent-y type project that you find on Ravelry. Leave it in the comment, and I'm going to choose someone to send that pattern to. But make sure you leave the comment here on this video if you want to be included in that drawing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I had so much fun putting this together. I hope you found it inspiring and motivating. But again, don't put too much pressure on yourself during the month of December. Let's be honest. A lot of us are trying to finish up last minute gift knitting, and we're busy with just all the Christmas parties and everything else that goes on during that month. I never go into December thinking that I need to knit an Advent project. I just kind of go in and say, well, I'm just going to do what I can do. No pressures, Amber, no pressures. So thank you so much for watching. Again, I'll link the other 2 special scrappy episodes down below. And stay tuned if you want to see more of my personal life and see my family and the festivities that we get up to during the month of December and what we do during the Advent season. I do plan on filming Vlogmas again this year, so that'll be starting on December 1st. Thank you all so much for watching. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all next time.